Hello everybody, my name is Tanner Kyler, and today I'm going to be showing you how to plant a tree properly. And so there are a lot of different ways that people plant trees, and a lot of times they fail. And the reason why they fail is because they miss a few crucial steps. So make sure to stick around at the end of the video to make sure you don't miss anything. And at the very end, I'll show you the most important step a lot of people don't do. And so starting with this guy, he's in a 5-gallon pot. And so this 5-gallon pot is going to hold a lot of soil. And I'm going to show you how to take care of them, how to get the roots in the soil, and how to make sure you don't get an issue with the soil interface. The soil interface is it being grown in potting medium that is very loose and well draining. Our native soil isn't going to be like that. This area right here, it's not very well draining, so I'm going to make sure to dig a good hole. We want to make sure that the roots make good contact with the native soil so it can reach out and get into this soil really well. I'm going to move this tree out of the way. This is right where I want it, and we're going to start digging the hole. I'll speed up through this part, but I'll show you how to use it, do it properly. So what you're going to need is a good spade shovel. I like to use spade shovels. There isn't a better shovel for planting trees, I believe, unless you get a root slayer shovel and there's a lot of roots in your area, then those might be appropriate. But for the most part, these spade shovels work perfectly. And I might run into a root from these big oak trees behind me, but that's okay. Most of the time I can just cut through them. They have so many, it's not going to really harm the tree. And so I'm going to start digging. Do not use a sharpshooter as well. You can use a sharpshooter, but you're going to be here a lot longer. It's going to take a lot more effort. And so we're going to jump on this. We're going to wiggle this into the soil and get a good deep cut and remove this turf out of the way. We push and push and push till it's really good in the ground, and then we just pry. I like these Cobalt brand shovels. They have really good, strong material they're made out of. They're made of steel. I think this is steel. It could be fiberglass. I do not like wood-handled shovels as they normally break under a lot of pressure. And so when you're doing this prying action, that causes issues. And so I like to find a spot where I'm going to pile up everything, and we're going to build a berm at the end of this to hold back water. So I'm going to make sure it's in the front because the water will be running down the hill this way. And so what I also do is I give a good few chops. This is going to make your life a lot easier whenever you're going to bury the root ball in. And so I'm going to work back from that. Just keep working around, and you're going to make a nice round hole. Had a lot of experience, so I'm pretty quick with this. The soil is also nice and loose right now. There was a root of a tree that just snapped right through. It's also good knowing that this tree is going to make nice contact with the native root system soon and become part of this forest. Always plant native trees. As long as it's native to your state, I think it's okay. This tree is native to Oklahoma, down in the southeast corner, and I'm in northern Oklahoma. I think it'll do just fine here. It still benefit a lot of native species. Planting the wrong tree species can be as bad as not planting trees at all, sometimes even worse. If you plant something like Calorie pear, you could be introducing invasive species, introducing pests, and causing an issue for the whole ecosystem around you. So make sure you pick out a native species. What I like to say to people is pick out a native oak to your area. They're the best trees ecologically to plant. Also, always let your trees have a few babies come up underneath them when they get mature. That way, if they die, they have one to replace themselves with. You just mow around their babies. That's what I do. This is a big really cool here. Let me grab the camera and I'll show you real fast. So we want the hole to be 2.5 times the size of the pot. So if we take this tree here, sit in here, it's about 2 times bigger. It needs to be a tiny bit deeper because we want this soil and this root layer right here to be even with the native soil, so they're not getting coated up, because trees breathe oxygen through their roots, and if you cover them up too much, the tree roots will die and the tree will die. Healthy roots mean a healthy tree. I think it's big enough around. We just need to go a tiny bit deeper, like 3 seconds deeper. I think I probably go there. So this part is very important. When you remove it from the tree, you want to get a little bit of it, because we have here. You see all those roots right there that are in the soil up against the pot? Those are going to grow back into the tree, so we want to make sure to break those off, break them out where they can go out into the native soil and not girdle the tree. If you have a really root-bound tree, the roots will wrap around the tree over and over, girdle its root system, choke it out, and in 20, 30 years, when your tree blows over during a storm and dies, you wonder why, but it's because of that girdling. And so I'm actually pretty rough with my trees, and I like to get all this potting medium off of it. I use it as mulch at the end, but this potting medium inside your soil is going to cause a soil interface, which means this soil and that soil is not going to want to mix. So this tree's going to want to keep its roots in here. So we want to beat all that off and really just be rough with it. It's okay. And we look at that. Look at that good root ball we have now. It's just the root ball. And then I come here at the bottom. Sometimes I actually have to take a shovel and chop it. This one's not so bad. We sprawl these roots out. Get a little out of breath there. Well, yep. Now I'm going to go back into it. Look at the roots on it now, which is also why we want the hole to be bigger. I'm gonna go and actually snap that root. Make sure it doesn't try to grow back towards the tree. Gosh, this thing's roots are tough. Take the soil, shovel, and just chop it. Okay, now we got that down in the soil good. I'm gonna break all these that are bigger. Make sure it's nice in the center of the hole. I'm gonna bring the camera back over here. See, the root ball is nice and level with the ground here, which is what we want. We want it to be nice and level with the ground. And then we're gonna take all this soil and we're gonna break it up real nice. Let me take it. I didn't chop this up like I should have. And we're just gonna sprinkle that. That way this soil will get wet, compact, and then this roots will not know the difference between this and that. I also leave a nice little brittle layer, especially for these bald cypress, which want deep roots, to be nice and loose so it can start its way down into the soil here. Be a little bit of work. This is my favorite part here. Chop up the soil here. Nice and brittle. Easy to push over. Make sure your tree's facing the way you want it. I want mine sitting about like this. Nice and straight. They always grow up though. So if there's a curve in it, it'll always correct itself up. But I don't want a curve in this one. I want it to be nice and straight. I want this to be a big, tall, mature shade tree one day. That'll also, because we're living here in a marsh, right where the camera's sitting right now, this area floods with about a foot of water during rains. And this species here, along with some of our native oak species like this Quercus palustris, or the pin oak behind me, also known as a Quercus palustris, means swamp loving in Latin. They love these swampy areas. They do better with a lot of water, but some species like post oak blackjacks do not like wet roots. And I'm gonna kind of push it down in there and pack it in a little bit, just with my palm of my hand. I don't want it to be too compacted. We still need to let those roots breathe, but pack it in where it won't blow over during a storm. This guy doesn't have a stake on it. I'm not gonna put a stake on it. I think putting stakes on trees makes them weak. And so I keep them off. I've never had a tree break over during a storm. And when they do, normally they just come back stronger. All right, now that I have enough packed around this thing, I'm gonna do one of the most crucial steps, the most important steps in all of this, second most important step, is building a berm in front of it. That way when the water runs, it catches all the water right here at the base of this, giving this guy a lot more moisture than he would otherwise receive. So I'm gonna stick that in there, take all this extra soil over here, put it up here in a pile it all up right here. Ooh, got it all. Break that open, put it upside down. And then I'm gonna take all this loose soil and pack it around these clumps and make a nice berm here. That way when it rains, or spring right now, it rains quite often, holds a lot more water right on the base of this guy's trunk. Now if you have a tree that doesn't like a lot of water, you don't want to do this. So do your research beforehand. There's another clump right here. I'm gonna stick right there. Now we have a U-shaped water basin here. Pack that all in. I want to make sure it's really packed in because there's no roots holding it in yet. And with time, it will get roots in it. You make basically a tiny pond in front of it. This is the fun part for me. All right. Nothing more around it. Pack it all in. And I think that looks pretty good. The water runs like this. It'll all catch there. And then what I do with all this extra soil here that was in the potting medium, is I use it as mulch because it's mostly wood chips. So we pull all this over here, mound it around the base, and then you get free mulch with your tree instead of putting this in the ground and slowing down your tree's growth. Pack that in a little bit, and it looks great. And that's how you plant the tree. Now, there's one more crucial step we cannot forget to do, and I'll show that real quick. All right, now we have our water hose, and that is the most important step, is watering it in. When I say water it in, I mean flood it in. Gosh dang it, there's a hole in this water hose. So we're gonna dampen down the berm we just made, give it a nice good mist. I'm gonna put it on this nice misting setting here, this cone shape. And I'm gonna set it there, and I'm gonna let it run for about 30 minutes. And I wanna completely flood this area. That's gonna make it have good soil contact. It's gonna help the soil grab up around those roots and then spread into the soil quickly. Now their first year, they're gonna grow just roots. They're barely gonna grow anything above the ground. Do not be discouraged because of this. Someone once told me a tree takes 3 years to start growing. First year it's slow to grow, the second year it starts to grow, and the third year it explodes with growth. If by the third, fourth, or fifth year it's not growing, something's wrong. Maybe you need to move it to a better place or pick out a different species of tree. I'll come back here in about 20 minutes and show you how flooded you're supposed to get it. But I mean, just let this run. You cannot overwater a freshly planted tree, especially a bald cypress that loves the swamp. As we can see, the berm's already working. All that water's running downhill right here. Actually, I'll probably turn it off once it starts to flood over the berm, not to wash the berm out, because it's already getting plenty of water. But see how much I'm flooding it? Like, we want to make sure it's saturated in water. And you want to do this 2 or 3 times, like 2 or 3 days after you plant it. And then after you transplant it, you want to water it about twice, 3 times a week for the first year to get it really good and established. All right, let it run for about 15 minutes and it soaked up all it could. We have a nice pool of water here in front of this basin. And that is the most important part, making sure you water it well and giving it that basin to hold more water around it whenever you're not around to water it. Now, in a few years, this guy won't even need care or watering. It'll get nice and established and I won't have to water it at all. But I'm actually gonna give it probably another water tonight and tomorrow to make sure it gets really established. One last thing is, now that I got all this, I'm gonna put a nice amount of mulch on top of it to really help get it in the ground here and help hold that moisture in. I probably won't mulch it after this, but when I first plant a tree, I normally like to mulch it like this. Put a nice thin layer. Don't mound it up more than 3 or 4 inches. So now you're ready to go plant your own tree, and I hope my video helps you out. That's about it for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to see more content like this and want to learn more about gardening in the natural world. That's all we do here on this channel. And any money ever produced by this channel will, of course, be put right back into restoring nature, because that is my goal in life, to restore as much of the natural world as I can and to help boost biodiversity and educate you guys and everybody in the whole world that I can educate on the importance of our natural world. Make sure you leave a comment if you have any concerns or questions about this video, and we'll see you next time.